In 1953, America and Iran were friends. America helped Iran modernize. American companies built Iranian infrastructure. American universities trained Iranian students. They were partners. Today, they are at war, and right now, as you watch this video, they are negotiating to stop. This is the story of 70 years of conflict between two countries that should never have become enemies, and how one decision in 1953 started a chain reaction that is still exploding today. It starts with oil. In 1951, Iran's elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh made a decision that changed everything. He nationalized Iran's oil industry. For decades, British companies had taken Iran's oil and paid almost nothing in return. Mossadegh said, "Enough. Iran's oil belongs to Iran." The British were furious. They went to America. They told the CIA that Mossadegh was a communist threat, that if he stayed in power, the Soviet Union would take Iran. It wasn't true, but it worked. In August 1953, the CIA paid Iranian street gangs to start riots. They bribed military officers. They spread propaganda in newspapers. They planted fake stories about Mossadegh being a communist. They overthrew the democratically elected government of Iran in 4 days. Mossadegh was arrested, tried, sentenced to house arrest for the rest of his life. The Shah was reinstalled, and Iran's oil went back to foreign companies. The Iranians never forgot. For 26 years, the Shah ruled Iran with American backing. His secret police, Savak, trained by the CIA and Mossad, arrested and tortured thousands. American weapons flowed in. American advisors stayed. American companies made billions, and anti-American resentment grew with every passing year. When the revolution came in 1979, it wasn't just against the Shah, it was against America. Khamenei called the United States the Great Satan, and then the hostages. On November 4th, 1979, Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. 52 American diplomats were taken hostage. The students thought it would last a few days. It lasted 444 days. America imposed sanctions, severed diplomatic relations. A rescue operation was launched in April 1980. 8 helicopters flew into the Iranian desert. 3 broke down in the sand. The mission was aborted. A collision in the dark killed 8 American soldiers. Their bodies were left behind. It was the most humiliating military failure in a generation. The hostages were only released the moment Ronald Reagan was inaugurated, January 20th, 1981.
Minutes after Carter left office, there were allegations that Reagan's team had secretly made a deal with Iran, that they told Iran to hold the hostages until Carter was gone, to deny him the victory of their release. The October surprise. It was never proven, but it was never fully disproven either. From that day, America and Iran had had no formal diplomatic relations, not a single ambassador, not a single embassy, for 45 years. But not talking doesn't mean not fighting. When Saddam Hussein invaded Iran in 1980, America supported Iraq, not because America liked Saddam, but because America wanted Iran to lose. American intelligence was shared with Iraqi commanders. American companies sold Iraq materials for chemical weapons, even after the CIA confirmed that Iraq was using those weapons on Iranian civilians. America looked the other way. Iran remembered. In 1983, a truck bomb destroyed the U.S. Marine barracks in Beirut, Lebanon. 241 American soldiers were killed in their sleep. It was the deadliest attack on American troops since Vietnam. Hezbollah carried it out. Hezbollah, funded, trained, and armed by Iran. America blamed Iran. Iran denied involvement. Reagan pulled American forces out of Lebanon. And then came the most extraordinary contradiction in the history of American foreign policy. While publicly supporting Iraq against Iran, while publicly condemning Iran as a state sponsor of terrorism, the Reagan administration was secretly selling weapons to Iran. Over 2,000 missiles shipped through Israel. In exchange, Iran would use its influence to free American hostages held by Hezbollah in Lebanon. The money from the weapon sales, it was secretly funneled to rebel groups in Nicaragua, completely illegally, in direct violation of American law. A Lebanese newspaper broke the story in November 1986. The scandal became known as Iran-Contra. Oliver North, shredded documents, secret bank accounts. Reagan went on television. He said he had not traded arms for hostages. A week later, he reversed himself. Only 14% of Americans believed him. Enemies in public, arms dealers in private. The hypocrisy was breathtaking. Iran remembered. In 1988, near the end of the Iran-Iraq War, something terrible happened. The USS Vincennes, an American warship in the Persian Gulf, fired a missile at an aircraft. The crew believed it was an Iranian fighter jet. It was Iran Air Flight 655, a commercial airliner. 290 passengers and crew, dead. Men, women, 66 children. The U.S. called it a tragic mistake. It paid compensation.
But never officially apologized. The captain of the Vincennes was later awarded a medal. Iran called it a war crime. They called it deliberate. They have never stopped believing that. Throughout the 1990s, America imposed more sanctions. Iran's economy struggled. But quietly, secretly, Iran was building something new. In 1996, a massive truck bomb destroyed the Khobar Towers, an American military housing complex in Saudi Arabia. 19 American airmen were killed, hundreds injured. American investigators concluded Iran was behind it. Iran denied everything. No retaliation came. In 2000, a suicide boat attack on the USS Cole in Yemen killed 17 American sailors. Al-Qaeda carried it out, but Iran had trained some of the same networks. The connections were murky, the anger was real. Then came September 11, 2001. Iran condemned the attacks. Iranians held candlelight vigils for American victims. There was a brief moment, a real moment, when the two countries might have moved towards something different. Iran even quietly helped the US in Afghanistan against the Taliban. Then in January 2002, George W. Bush gave a speech that ended everything. He called Iran part of an axis of evil, alongside Iraq and North Korea. Iranian moderates who had reached out were humiliated. The reformers lost the argument at home. The hardliners took over. Iran's nuclear program accelerated. When the US invaded Iraq in 2003 and overthrew Saddam Hussein, Iran watched carefully. Saddam had been Iran's biggest threat for 25 years. Now he was gone, executed. His country was in chaos, and Iran moved in. It funded Shia militias in Iraq. It trained fighters. It ran intelligence networks throughout the country America was trying to rebuild. American soldiers started dying from weapons made in Iran. Specially designed roadside bombs, sophisticated, lethal. Over 600 American soldiers were killed by Iranian-supplied weapons in Iraq. America knew. Iran knew America knew. Neither side wanted to admit it publicly. By 2006, Iran was enriching uranium. The world demanded it stop. Iran refused. More sanctions, tighter sanctions, crippling sanctions. Iran's currency collapsed, its economy shrank. Its people suffered, but the program continued. In 2008, something happened that nobody expected. A US intelligence report concluded that Iran had stopped trying to build a nuclear bomb in 2003. It had the capability, the knowledge, the material, but it had not made the decision to weaponize. It was the most dangerous ambiguity in the world. Close enough to threaten, far enough to negotiate.
Then came Barack Obama. In 2013, for the first time since 1979, an American president called an Iranian president. Obama called Rouhani. A 15-minute phone call. The first direct contact between the two governments in 34 years. 2 years later, in 2015, they reached a deal, the JCPOA. Iran agreed to limit its nuclear program. In exchange, sanctions relief, billions of dollars unfrozen. It was the closest the two countries had come to peace since 1979. It lasted 3 years. In May 2018, Donald Trump tore it up. He called it the worst deal ever made. He reimposed sanctions, maximum pressure. Iran's economy collapsed. The rial lost 60% of its value in months. Inflation soared past 40%. Ordinary Iranians couldn't afford medicine, food, basic goods. But Iran didn't back down. It started enriching uranium again, faster, higher, closer to weapons grade. Then, in January 2020, Trump made a decision that shocked the world. He ordered the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, Iran's most powerful general, the man who had built Iran's entire proxy network across the Middle East. Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, Iraqi militias, all of them answered to Soleimani. He was killed by a drone strike at Baghdad airport. His car was incinerated. Iran threatened massive retaliation. Supreme Leader Khamenei wept publicly. Iran launched ballistic missiles at American bases in Iraq. Over 100 American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries from the blasts. Trump called them headaches. And then, both sides stepped back from the brink. Nobody wanted a full war. Not yet. In 2021, Biden tried to restart the nuclear deal. Talks went on for years. Iran kept enriching. America kept sanctioning. No agreement was reached. By 2023, Iran had enough enriched uranium for multiple nuclear bombs. Not assembled, not weaponized, but the material was there. In June 2025, Israel launched the 12-day war. Massive airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities and military infrastructure. The US joined in. Bunker buster bombs on Fordow, buried 90 meters inside a mountain. The first time American bombs had ever hit Iranian soil. Iran responded with missiles on Israel and American bases and closed the Strait of Hormuz. Then came February 28, 2026, Operation Epic Fury. the largest American military operation since the invasion of Iraq. Missiles, bombers, special forces.
Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed. The man who had ruled Iran since 1989. The man who had been the symbol of resistance to America for 37 years. Gone. Iran struck back. The new Supreme Leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the man America killed, vowed revenge. He called Iran's nuclear and missile capabilities its national capital. He had no intention of surrendering them. And today, right now, they are negotiating. Trump's envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are meeting with Iranian officials through Pakistani mediators. A 14-point memorandum of understanding is on the table. Iran would halt uranium enrichment for at least 12 years. The US would lift sanctions and unfreeze billions in Iranian assets. The Strait of Hormuz would reopen. The war would formally end. But nothing is agreed. Iran wants to keep the right to enrich uranium eventually. America is demanding a complete halt. Trump has threatened to resume bombing. He says Iran is going to fold. Iran says it will not be humiliated. Oil is at $104 a barrel. Gas prices around the world are breaking records. The global economy is feeling every day of this standoff. 70 years of decisions are sitting across a negotiating table. The CIA coup of 1953, the hostage crisis of 1979, the Iran-Contra scandal, the sanctions, the proxy wars, the assassinations, the nuclear standoff. All of it led here. Two countries that were once friends, that became enemies over oil, that have been fighting ever since through proxies, sanctions, assassinations, and now bombs. In 1953, America overthrew Iran's democracy and created the exact enemy it feared. Nobody planned for this. Nobody wanted this. But here we are. And the next few weeks may decide whether this ends in a deal or in something far worse. If this series has helped you understand the world, subscribe. Because whatever happens next with Iran and America, we'll cover it. See you next time.